When three bullies cornered Kareem behind the gym, they expected fear, but within seconds, one was on the ground, and the others learned what it meant to mess with the wrong kid. People barely noticed when Kareem Tolliver stepped through the front doors of Millstone High in Lansing, Michigan. No big welcome, no whispers of curiosity. Just another transfer student halfway through the semester. His backpack was worn, his hoodie faded, and he walked with that careful kind of quiet, like someone who'd learned to read the room before ever speaking in it. It was a cold Monday. Snow slush still lined the sidewalk, and the morning bell rang sharp through the halls. Kareem paused at his locker, eyes scanning the names and faces rushing past. He wasn't scared. He just knew the routine. Find your classes, don't make waves, keep to yourself. Inside the first period math class, a few students glanced over when he walked in. A girl in the corner whispered something behind her hand. The teacher smiled, motioned toward an empty desk near the back, and moved on. No introduction, no curiosity, just silence. Kareem didn't mind. He'd learned silence wasn't always bad. In Detroit, where he came from, it often meant safety. He didn't wear flashy clothes, didn't show off on purpose. His uncle called it moving invisible, something you learned in certain neighborhoods where attention could get you jumped or worse. But Millstone High wasn't Detroit. It was polished. The kids wore name-brand everything. Their haircuts looked like appointments. Their laughs were loud and confident, and they moved like they owned the floor. No one outright said anything to Kareem, but he saw the way some looked at his shoes, how a kid in gym class glanced at his second-hand hoodie like it had stains on it. He ate lunch alone on the third day, at a table near the back of the cafeteria. Tray of spaghetti, banana, and a chocolate milk. Simple. Quiet. He chewed slow, watching. Listening. That's when he heard the laugh. "Yo, what is that? You bring that from home or something?" Kareem looked up. A tall white boy in a varsity jacket stood a few feet away, smirking. That was Brock Simmons, football co-captain, star tight end, and self-declared king of the junior class. He had two other guys flanking him, both grinning like they were in on a private joke. Kareem didn't respond. "Man's eating like it's the Great Depression," Brock added, loud enough for the nearby tables to hear. Laughter. Not all joined in, but enough did. Kareem kept eating, eyes down. He didn't want trouble. Not now. One of Brock's friends, a short kid with a crew cut, leaned over. "You hear me, man? You deaf or just slow?" Kareem looked at him, just for a second. Then he blinked, grabbed his milk, and stood up. "I'm done." He walked away. No insults. No scene. Just left the tray and moved toward the hallway. It didn't stop there. Later that afternoon, someone shoved his books off the desk in science class. No one claimed it. The teacher didn't notice. Then, after school, someone wrote "charity case" in dry erase marker across his locker. It wiped off easy, but it left a mark. Kareem went home quiet that night, took the 112 bus to the edge of town where his uncle's gym sat behind a tire shop. Inside, the smell of sweat and leather hit his nose before the bell even chimed above the door. Uncle Reggie looked up from wrapping someone's hands. "You all right?" "Yeah," Kareem muttered. "Just school." Reggie didn't press. He nodded once, then gestured to the mats. "Let it out, that's what they're for." Kareem didn't say a word, just changed, stepped on the mat, and hit the pads like they'd said something personal. Hooks, counters, pivots. Clean, fast, focused. He didn't need to brag about what he could do. He just needed to remember who taught him to never let anger lead. But one small act in the cafeteria sets off a chain Kareem never meant to pull. The cafeteria moment should have been nothing. A dumb joke, a quick jab, one of those things people forget by next period. But for Brock Simmons, it wasn't about the joke. It was about the reaction. Or the lack of one. Kareem hadn't looked scared. He hadn't flinched. He just left. And that made Brock itch. By Friday, Kareem's name was bouncing around the locker rooms. "The new kid's got an attitude," someone said. "Doesn't talk, just stares." They said it like it was a crime. In gym class, Kareem got paired with Brock for basketball drills. The coach barked out pairings, and the boys lined up. Kareem didn't blink when Brock tossed the ball at his chest a little too hard. "Come on, Tolliver, show me what you got." Kareem bounced the ball once. Twice. "We just passing, right?" "Yeah, just passing." Brock faked a casual stance, but when Kareem passed it back, he snapped the ball like a pitcher to Brock's chest. Dead on. It echoed. Brock blinked. The other boys snickered. "Dang," someone muttered. Brock gave a tight smile. "All right, cool." That was the moment he decided he didn't like Kareem. After that, it got pettier. Snide remarks in the hallway. Gum stuck in Kareem's locker. One time someone tripped him near the vending machines. Kareem never responded, never snitched. He just kept moving. But silence in a place like Millstone, that was gasoline. And Brock had a lighter. Lunchtime became a stage. Brock would throw loud jokes Kareem's way from across the room. "You from Detroit, right? You bring your bulletproof vest or leave it at home?" The table laughed. Some kids looked uncomfortable, but no one said anything. Kareem stared at his sandwich. One of the guys at Brock's table, Logan Ferris, leaned over. "Dude, I think he might actually be crazy. Look at him. Doesn't even blink." "He's not crazy," Brock replied, loud enough to carry. "He's just another hood story waiting to happen." That one got under Kareem's skin. After school, he walked a little faster to the bus stop. He knew how things escalated. He'd seen it, been around it. But this time, it felt personal. At home, Uncle Reggie noticed the tension in Kareem's jaw. "You holding something back?" Kareem nodded slowly. "Trying to." Reggie set down his coffee. "Sometimes holding back is harder than swinging. You know what I mean?" "Yeah. You're not there to teach anyone a lesson. You're there to graduate. To build something." "I know." Reggie looked at him for a long moment. "But if someone backs you into a corner, you don't let him walk over you either." Kareem didn't answer. He didn't have to. Back at school, the rumors shifted. A new narrative started floating. That Kareem had a record, that he'd been kicked out of his old school, that he'd fought a teacher in 8th grade. None of it was true, but no one cared. In history class, Brock leaned over from behind. "You ever seen a real fight, Tolliver?" Kareem didn't turn around. "Yeah. I mean up close, not on TV. Blood on the floor kind." Kareem finally glanced over his shoulder. "You don't want that kind." Brock smirked. "Is that a threat?" "It's a warning." That smile faded just a little. But the next day, Brock made a choice. He caught Kareem outside the gym after 6th period. Kareem had headphones in, walking toward the back parking lot where the late buses waited. Brock and 2 of his friends followed quietly. "Yo, Tolliver." Kareem turned, pulling out an earbud. "You think you're tough?" "No. You act like it. I act like I want to be left alone. You don't get to choose that." Kareem's shoulders tensed. "You done?" Brock took 1 step closer. "Not yet." The bell rang behind them, and the hallway spilled out with noise, but this moment stayed frozen. But Brock doesn't know he's pressing on something that's been trained not to snap, but strike. The next day was a Friday. Cold wind cut across the Millstone parking lot as students rushed to their buses or rides. Kareem stayed behind, helping Mr. Patel, the custodian, with stacking some old desks near the side exit. He wasn't trying to impress anyone, he just didn't want to be in the crowd. But Brock had planned it that way. By the time Kareem came around the back of the gym, the lot had mostly cleared. Just a few cars, no teachers in sight. Brock stood near the dumpsters with Logan and Ty. All 3 had that fake casual posture, hands in pockets like they were just hanging out, waiting. Kareem spotted them and kept walking. His backpack hung over one shoulder. His pace didn't change. "Hey," Brock called. Kareem stopped about 10 feet away. "What? You think you're smart or something? Just ignoring me every time I speak? I didn't come here for you." Brock took a step closer. You didn't come here at all? You got dropped here. Kareem narrowed his eyes. What do you want? Logan circled to the side. Slow. Ty leaned back, chewing gum like he wasn't in the middle of something wrong. I want to know what makes you so special, Brock said. You act like you're better than everyone, sitting by yourself, staring at people. I'm just minding my business. No, you're disrespecting mine. Kareem looked at him square. You got something to prove. Prove it. That's when Logan made his move, rushed in with a quick shove to Kareem's chest. It wasn't clean, it wasn't practiced, just aggression. Kareem didn't budge. He didn't swing. Back up, he said, voice low. Brock laughed. Go on, Logan. Logan moved again. This time with a wild punch aimed at Kareem's shoulder. It didn't connect, because Kareem had already stepped inside his range. One twist, one sweep. Logan hit the pavement with a smack that echoed. What the? Ty started, but he didn't finish the sentence. Kareem turned, eyes on Brock. Don't. But Brock couldn't stop now. He lunged, aiming high, thinking his size would carry the hit. But size didn't matter here. Kareem slipped under the punch, pivoted, and dropped his elbow into Brock's ribs with just enough pressure to send him staggering. Ty backed off. Yo, chill, man! It lasted maybe 12 seconds. Brock was on the ground, one knee down, breathing hard. Logan sat against the dumpster, eyes wide. Ty had his hands up like he'd just watched a stranger flip a car. Kareem didn't gloat. He didn't taunt. He just stood there. That's when Mr. Langford, the assistant principal, rounded the corner. What's going on here? Brock scrambled to his feet. He jumped us. Kareem looked at him. You serious? I didn't do nothing, man. He's crazy. Mr. Langford glanced at Kareem, then at the others. He didn't see blood. No black eyes, just tension and fear, but not the kind he expected. Kareem's hands were still, his breath steady. He looked more composed than any of them. Come with me, Langford said. They walked to the office in silence. No one said a word. In the waiting room, Kareem sat across from Brock. Logan had already called his dad. Ty said nothing at all. Brock kept muttering under his breath. He's dead. He's done. Kareem didn't even look his way. Inside the principal's office, Mr. Langford stared at Kareem long and hard. Want to tell me what happened? Kareem did. Calm, straightforward, no lies, no sugarcoating. Langford listened, then he leaned back and said, You're lucky no one's bleeding. Kareem didn't respond. You know we have a zero-tolerance policy, right? I didn't start it. Langford sighed. Doesn't matter who starts it. What matters is who finishes it. Kareem stared at the desk. Then maybe you should talk to the ones who never tried to stop it. Langford blinked. For a moment, just a breath, he didn't know what to say. But when the dust settles and a teacher shows up, Kareem's not walking away a hero. By Monday, everyone at Millstone High knew. The fight had exploded into whispers and sideways glances. Kareem couldn't walk down a hallway without someone stepping aside. Not out of respect, out of wariness. He wasn't the quiet new kid anymore. He was something else now, something to watch. In first period, the guy who used to sit behind him moved to a different seat. During lunch, no one said anything when Kareem walked in. No jokes, no comments, just silence. But that silence felt louder than anything. He took his usual seat in the back, set down his tray, and ate alone. Same as before, but now it was different. Now they weren't ignoring him, they were avoiding him. Across the room, Brock sat at a crowded table, retelling the story like he was the victim. Dude's psycho, Brock said. Came at us like it was a movie scene. Kicked Logan's legs out like he's Bruce Lee or something. Nobody does that unless they've been in real fights. Ty kept quiet. Logan didn't show up that day. One girl at the table raised an eyebrow. But you guys surrounded him, right? Brock snapped back. Nah, we were just talking. He flipped out. She didn't believe him, but she didn't push it. In gym class, Kareem didn't get paired with anyone. Coach Rawlins just told him to shadow drills today. No reason, no warning, just instructions. Kareem didn't argue. After school, he didn't go to the gym. He took the long route home instead, walking past the corner store, then cutting through an alley he hadn't used since he moved. He needed time, space, a place to think. At home, Uncle Reggie sat watching a replay of some old UFC fight. Kareem dropped his bag by the door and slumped onto the couch. "Rough day?" Reggie asked. "People act different now. You thought they'd be grateful." "No, I just didn't think they'd look at me like I'm dangerous." Reggie turned off the TV. "Listen, when you defend yourself and win, people see strength. And strength scares the weak, especially the loud ones." Kareem stared at the floor. "I didn't even go hard. I held back. I know you did. But they don't care. Because you exposed something in that boy, and he ain't ready to live with it. What do I do now?" "You keep your head. You remember why you're there." Kareem didn't answer. Because deep down, part of him wished he had gone harder. At school, things only got stranger. A couple teachers gave him those long, thoughtful looks. One guidance counselor even called him in for a check-in. "I just want to make sure you're adjusting," she said. "I know transferring mid-year can be hard." Kareem nodded. She smiled too tightly. "Do you ever feel angry?" He stared at her. "Why?" "No reason, just checking." He got up and walked out before she could finish her next sentence. That night, a post showed up on social media, a blurry photo of the fight behind the gym. The caption said, "He thinks he's in a movie. Scared yet?" It was posted from Brock's burner account. The comments were mixed. "Yo, he dropped Logan like a sack of bricks." "Don't mess with that dude." "Nah, something's wrong with him. Why was he even here if he's gonna act like that?" Kareem read through every word, not once, not twice, but enough to feel something tighten